Welcome to the Fat Guys with Smokers podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm John. We're a couple of overweight barbecue enthusiasts trying to share our love for sweet and smoky food with the world.
Thanks for hanging out with us as we talk about life, share recipes, successes, and failures that have all led to our love of cooking outdoors.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm John, and here with Mike. Another great episode of Fat Guys with Smokers planned for you. We're excited to have you with us today. We're gonna be talking about getting started.
Yeah.
We went shopping.
Yes, we did.
And made a couple of lists that we're excited to share with you guys. But before we get started, like always, lots of great interaction. I think the most fun part about this, and I've talked about it, like part of the reason I got into barbecue was, well, one, I needed to pay the bills for this hobby that I had picked up. That's why I started selling barbecue pellets. But I love talking about barbecue, and it's been fun. All the interaction and comments that have been coming back and forth. Got a message last night from one of the guys that buys pellets. I think, Mike, you teach one of his kids at school.
Mm-hmm.
Just reached out, and it was fun to have that interaction and keep getting that back and forth. And I know you got some, didn't you, this week?
Yeah. Well, I feel like the barbecue community in general, and we've talked to this, is just so positive. Like everybody's just trying to help each other out. But I've had several people reach out and just kind of talk about how we're pretty authentic. Like one guy said, I like to listen to these podcasts. I like to watch YouTube videos, but people are way, I don't know how I would put it, too intense maybe, or unrealistic, I guess. Like in their giant outdoor kitchens on their brand new, super expensive pits. And we're doing, after work today,
not everybody gets a $1,000 flat top from Traeger in the mail that they get to make an unboxing video for, right?
Yeah, which I mean, Traeger, if you're listening, we'd be okay with it.
Yeah, we're down. Traeger, Blackstone, Green Mountain Grills, Camp Chef.
Yeah, we are not above it.
Anybody, we're there for you, but
but we are. I feel like that's kind of our strength, is we're the authentic, young family dad that can find a little bit of time to do what we love. And can I rant just for a second?
I feel like we need a soapbox that we can put our feet up on.
Just
we're not going to stand up on it, but we'd put our feet up on it. Go for it.
So I did the polar plunge yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the polar plunge was like a thing for Special Olympics. It's like a fundraiser, and people pay money. They cut a hole in the local reservoir, which has about 2 feet of ice on it right now, and then you just jump in, and people pay a lot of money to do that. I feel like the sound just got significantly better.
I made an adjustment on mine.
Good work.
I think the gain on mine was way too high.
I thought it was this, and I was like, oh, right.
No.
Anyway, so the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City show up. Right? And they go to jump in.
The Real Housewives of Salt?
It's a thing, apparently.
I obviously don't watch enough cable TV.
I've never seen it. I didn't even know they existed, but my wife was telling me that they're ridiculous. Anyway, we're all down there freezing our butts off because me and a couple other of the teachers got, like, if the kids made so much money, then we would jump in. So they'd put, like, money in our jars so that we would have to jump in. So we're down there on the ice. There's a bunch of teenage girls. They lead us all down on the ice. The teenage girls are in their swimming suits. Like, it's 30 degrees. We're standing on slushy ice. And we all have to move over and just sit there while the Real Housewives of Utah come down. And they're, like, filming everything. And they've got people in front, like, move, move, move. And we all just have to sit while they jump in and get out. Like, I was just like, this is the most inauthentic reality TV show I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, it was like it's a full-on TV show. I thought you were saying this was like a group of like,
oh no, it's not like, no, this is a TV show. It was the dumbest thing. And I was so mad because I was just like, this is not what this is about at all. Like, anyway, that's my rant. I was very upset at the
I hope there's at least like a big fat check from...
No. I did have to sign a waiver just in case my face got on camera. So they didn't have to, so I couldn't sue them. But, yeah. It was the worst thing I've ever done. It was so cold. I don't know why I said I'd do it. Anyway, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. What we were talking
authenticity.
About yeah. That is the opposite of authenticity in my mind. Anyway.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
I still can't get it. Like, for those of you not in our local community, the 14 of you that don't live in Nibley, Utah, like, this is Hiram Reservoir. This is not a big fancy. This is not Lake Powell. This is not some extravagant. Mm-mm. Like, it's a mediocre state park with a boat ramp.
Yep.
So
and Whitney,
that they would drive all the way up from Salt Lake to.
Yeah. It was so dumb, but and like it's fine. Like support a cause, that's fine. But just the whole everybody move. Like they were wearing pounds of makeup. They were sitting in these giant like warm robes that they took off, jumped in, and then they had a whole crew like surround them while we all just sat there in our swimming suits because we couldn't go until they were down and out. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is, I mean, the school district does this, right? Like this is to raise money for Special Olympics.
Special Olympics for the school district.
Let's at least give a shout out to the real purpose behind it.
Absolutely. And it was good and they did well and you know, it was a blast for those kids, but anyway, I was very annoyed at them. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
No, that's cool.
Rant over.
Yeah. So we, and today we're going to talk a lot about products. We're going to throw some Amazon links on there. Full disclosure, we are trying to put some affiliate marketing stuff on there. Mike and I were just talking about this though. One, our wives are very gracious to give us, basically half of our Saturdays to play podcast hosts, and it's something we love doing. So a little extra money to take the missus to dinner never hurts the process. But everything that we're going to put on, we're not getting paid by the companies. We're talking about things that we use, we think are valuable. And if you don't need them, don't like them, don't buy them. That's fine. Yeah. The show will continue on. This is something Mike and I do because we love doing it, not because we're trying to get rich and famous.
Sometimes we don't even hit the record button. We just sit here and talk into the microphones with each other for hours on end. So
maybe not hours on end. Yeah, we eventually remember, but we did go for about 20 minutes this morning. We're like, oh, we should probably be talking about this on the podcast. Yeah. So, let's do our shout out. I'm super excited for this one just because if we can get this guy to duet our stuff.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm going to be super excited. On Instagram, I think he's on TikTok too.
That's where I've seen him is on TikTok.
I probably need to break down and get TikTok and put us on TikTok.
I've been thinking about it for a while, but apparently everybody's worried the Chinese are going to steal our souls if we do that.
I don't care about the Chinese. The Chinese have all of our social security numbers anyways.
You're not wrong.
Like if someone wants to steal your identity, folks, they're going to steal your identity. There's very little you can do to stop it. It's just about catching it fast. I hate TikTok. I have no reason why, but our shout out this week is BeardOhWeirdOh.
He's hilarious.
I was going to say, that's all you need to know is his handle is BeardOhWeirdOh. And you should be excited about him. But he does remixes or reactions, like the side-by-side videos.
Yeah. I think they call them duets or blind react. I don't know.
Duets, that's what it is, yeah.
Duets, yeah.
The one that, it's funny, we both sent it to each other. I think Carly sent it to us. Like, there were a bunch of, one of his new ones, they took a rack of ribs and cooked it so that it formed a ring, almost like a crown roast would be. Mm-hmm. And then they filled it with mac and cheese and they filled it with tater tots or chili. Like
can't remember. It looked amazing, though.
BeardOhWeirdOh is a fat guy and often comments that it's food like that. That's why we'll never be skinny.
Yeah.
So
he is hilarious to watch because he'll just be watching. He's like, all right, yeah, you're doing that. And then suddenly he just flips a switch and just like can't even talk. It's really
so
funny.
good.
I can't do it, but anyway, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
So shout out to BeardOhWeirdOh.
And he, I think he's one of our Canadian brothers too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I've seen that in a couple of his things.
Right on.
So,
oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada for sure. Okay, so let's get into it. So today we want to talk about starter kits.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about grills. We'll talk a little bit about those, but we're not going to go in depth. But kind of like hosting a podcast, it's not buying the camera or buying the audio interface that seems to kill you. It's the little things. It's the things that go in to making it happen. It's, for the podcast, it's the little tripods and the phone holders and the sets of headphones and, just little things that you don't even think about until you go to do it. Mm-hmm. Barbecuing, it's a lot more than that big expensive grill out on your deck and whatever piece of protein you got.
Yep.
So we're going to do this two ways. I like the way that you put it last night when we were talking. This is an ode to the broke John and Mike of yesteryear.
Yep. The newly married apartment John and Mike.
Yeah, I'm not sure broke John is gone yet.
Yeah, broke Mike never left, but have at least been married for longer, and
Yeah, we have a little bit more adult money than we did when we first got married.
Less, probably about the same maturity level, but more adult money. So what could go wrong,
It's true. I am who I am, folks. Take me or leave me.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to do $100 get started list and $1,000 get started list. And I want to go on record saying you can spend way more than $1,000 if you really want to, but
if money's no object, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. But
yeah,
we're assuming money is an object when we make these lists. So
okay, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So part of mine, I don't know. I guess we kind of just separated and did our own thing. So for we broke it down into $100 and $1,000 budgets. And so I'm thinking newly married, small apartment, not a lot of room, get started. So I had to do a little digging. And I'm going to stick with kind of the charcoal. We've talked about that. I have no hate for gas grills. My first grill was like a tabletop gas grill that you screwed the little green bottle into, It was great. It was fine for what I needed. However, I'm going to stick with charcoal.
Well, and for $100, like first $100 doesn't go that far anymore.
No. Mm-mm.
The 18-inch Weber that I bought when I was newly married and was really excited about it, I think I paid $65 for, is $120 today.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard that
yeah,
even those little tabletop gas grills are $80-$90.
Yeah. So when we said, let's go 100, and then we got to talking yesterday, we were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't try to do 100.
But hey,
but it is possible.
We did it, and I think you can have a great experience.
We did. So I started with the Weber Smoky Joe, which is a little tabletop charcoal grill. I think it was 14 inches. Does that sound right?
I picked the same one. So
I mean, on Amazon, I found it for $44, which I didn't think was too bad. I'm sure you could find maybe some grills that don't have that Weber name for maybe a little bit cheaper. But I love what Weber does, and so I would stick with the Weber because they've been doing it for a while and they understand the mechanics of it and everything.
Yeah.
And you can make some good stuff on that, and it will use less charcoal. You won't be able to cook for 1,000 people, but
yeah, for you and another person,
yeah,
it's great. And this is the one thing I will say about all grills. certain names have been around for 100 years for a reason.
Yeah.
Weber's, I can't say enough good things about Weber's.
Yeah.
My 18-inch, I've been married for almost 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It has sat outside most of the time. I forget to put the cover on it. Mm-hmm. And it's in just as good a shape as the day I bought it.
Yep.
I've thrown away helped people, because I've never bought one. I've helped more people throw away the like $100 Charbroil gas grills or the Next Grill Dynaglows from Home Depot than I can count. Yeah. And I had a Weber that we moved around a lot as a kid. Like, my dad bought it when I was 15. When I moved into my first house? No, I think it was this house. No, it was my other house. 8 years ago, he tore it apart, put it in a box, shipped it across the country to me.
That's awesome.
And I used it. I upgraded because I wanted a bigger one, and I'm pretty sure one of our other buddies in the neighborhood still has it. And like, when you buy quality, especially in grills, they can last a really long time.
Yeah. So, and when we're talking charcoal grills, it's not like offset smokers. Like, you don't have to drop $1,000. I think I paid $120 maybe for the 22-inch Weber, and it's my favorite grill. Like, I love it. I cook on it year round. It's rarely covered because I forget, and it's in great shape and does a great job.
Yeah.
So on a much smaller scale, this Smoky Joe, I mean, it would be fine. I thought, so starter kits, what you have to have, in my opinion, to get started. I didn't count fuel. I didn't count meat. I figured that kind of comes with its own. But I figured you need a thermometer. That was a game changer for me. Like, you don't just want to cook it until it's charred on the outside and assume it's done. So I went with the ThermPro TP16 digital thermometer. That was my first thermometer, and I liked it. It was fine. And it had a wire like probe on it. So magnet on the back, you could just stick it to the outside of your grill so you could check and see what temperature your meat was. And it was great. And it was $20 on Amazon. I think I paid $16 for it like 10 years ago, but I didn't think $20 was too bad for a decent thermometer.
It was a ThermPro?
Yeah, ThermPro TP16. And you can get them, I mean, if you pay like a little bit more, you can get them with multiple probes, which is fine.
Yeah, I've seen these.
Yeah. That was my first one. I think Whitney got me that for my birthday or something one year, and I was kind of like, okay. But a good thermometer, I think, is worth every penny. So that was another thing that I thought. I also, if we're going with a Weber and charcoal, I also put a charcoal chimney on here. The Kingsford charcoal chimney for $15. It's a great chimney. However, I was just thinking, the Weber Smoky Joe is so small. Maybe you wouldn't need a charcoal chimney because it probably wouldn't hold an entire chimney of charcoal. But I guess you could just do a couple.
If you really want a chimney, though, Weber makes a small chimney.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
That is perfect for the ThermPro, or not for the ThermPro.
Smoky Joe.
Yeah, for the Smoky Joe. Mm-hmm. It's also for my pit barrel. That's why I bought it.
Oh, really?
Because the pit barrel, you do lit and unlit charcoal. It's perfect for it's like you're supposed to count your charcoals. The right number fits exactly in there for the...
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into that. Because for my drum, it's kind of the same deal. I fill like half my chimney full just to start it and then pour it into the basket full of chimney. Interesting.
So there's a smaller one. I think it's normally like $10.
Right on. Well, there's a bunch of other stuff you can get. The only other thing that I thought, at least in my opinion, is really helpful is a pack of gloves. Pack of those nitrile, I think is how you say it, gloves. I get mine from Harbor Freight. They're like $15. I was looking on Amazon last night. There's thousands of options, maybe better deals, but I just, every time I'm in Harbor Freight, which is quite a bit, I just grab a box. So
yeah, I get mine at Sam's Club.
Yeah,
but Yeah, I didn't. Those are on my $1,000 list. I didn't put them on my. But it's funny. So is that everything on your $100
Yeah,
list?
that's my $100 list right
So
there.
my $100 list is pretty close to that. I've got the same Smoky Joe. I've got the ThermPro TPO. Oh, still can't get rid of this cough, man. The TPO one. That
Okay.
it's an instant read thermometer.
Oh yeah. Same brand as mine then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of ThermPro.
Yeah, they're great.
They're great. They're pretty inexpensive. I mean, this ThermPro, the TPO one it's a $10 thermometer. I've had probably 4 of them in 12 years, and it's mostly because somebody steals it. Like, I don't think I've had one die.
Huh.
But Haley's absconded with, a couple for other cooking things, and people have come over and been like, "Oh, that's great. I really need one." And I've given, like, it's $10. It's like,
right.
This is the best instant read you can get. It takes 2 or 3 seconds to really get to temp. It's not a 1 second read like you can get there, but you don't have to have that. And a lot of, steaks, I think more so you're cooking to temp, but a lot of the big barbecue and like the slow cooks, temperature is a little bit more of a guideline, and it's more that probe feel that I like having an instant read just for that purpose.
Yeah, just for probing.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
So I've got that. I put a spatula on there. I
thought about utensils, and I just
ran
out of money.
You can use the plastic pancake flipper in the house, like kind of like Danny's ID card.
I was going to say the ID card. Or...
It's going to melt away. It's going to get deformed. You're going to get yelled at. Like, take it from 2 sage, wise married men. Don't use mama's plastic cookware out on your grill. Bad things will happen to you.
Yep. And you can get a metal spatula for really cheap. They've got huge kits that you can get for decent.
This is a obvious knockoff, but it is $8. It's metal, stainless steel, has a nice long wood handle, which, especially when you're cooking on a little charcoal grill, like, the suckers can still get plenty hot to singe the hair off your knuckles.
Yeah, you don't want to be reaching over the coals.
But this one's great. I mean, it's got a little bit of a serrated edge if you need to kind of cut in and check things. It's got a couple of good scraper edges on it. If you were cooking on a griddle, a bottle opener, if that's your choice of libation right there, you can do all of it with a spatula, and it's $8.
Yeah.
So, the other 2 things that I just absolutely demand having in my arsenal. One, a really big cutting board.
Oh yeah.
So
I didn't think about that.
This is an 18 by 12, just poly, nothing cutting board. Like, it's nothing special. It's got a little trough around it, which will help keep things clean. It's dishwasher safe. I mean, we didn't have a dishwasher when we were in our first apartment.
Yeah.
But I think having a big cutting board can be a game changer.
Yeah, I agree. And the trough is nice. Like, I have some big, like, plasticky ones that Whitney likes to use, and that's what I always use. But the juice kind of gets everywhere, and you really got to watch it. If there's a little trough, it'd be so nice.
Yeah, and then the other thing is a good knife. And I've got 2 different ones on here for in my $100 and $1,000 group, but a good boning or fillet knife that's got a little bit of flex to it it's fantastic. They don't make it anymore, but Gerber used to sell this. You can buy it at Walmart. I think I got mine on Amazon, but it was I think it's like a 6, maybe it's an 8-inch fillet knife that came with a sheath and had a little in the sheath. It had a knife sharpener down in the bottom of it. But I can tell you, I paid $15 for that knife. 8 years ago. It's still sharp as ever because it's got the honer in it. And I use it to trim almost every piece of meat that I cook. That it's like that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Knives are one of those things that you can get sucked into spending thousands of dollars on.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yeah.
And they're works of art. They're beautiful. Like I would love to have, some of these really fancy knives and, Damascus steel that, you can slice razor thin sheets of tomato. Like, cool story, bro. Like, not a big tomato fan. Like, why anyone would need to cut it that small?
Yeah.
I don't know. But you can get away buying some pretty cheap knives. They're dishwasher safe. Like, they'll make your life a lot easier. If you watch my Instagram videos, like, guaranteed you're going to see my neon green handled slicer at some point. It's not a super pretty knife, but it's sharp and it gets the job done. And I paid $20 for it. Mm-hmm. That there's, what's the brand on here? It's Cookin' Home on Amazon. That I've got a bunch of their stuff. It's all super cheap. It's very like industrial kind of commercial kitchen type of a feel. Mm-hmm. But it does awesome. So there's some things that really matters on brand. Grills, I think, is one of them. Mm-hmm. Knives, buy what you need to.
Yeah. Keep it sharp, but get what you need.
And especially when you're starting out, I mean, buy the cheap stuff. You can replace it if it really breaks, if it's only $20. Like, it's not that hard to come up with $20 in a budget. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to come up with $500 for one knife. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about knives, but that is critical.
And I would start with a fillet knife before anything else because it's so versatile. You can slice meat with it, but it also makes your life so much easier to trim if it's got a little bit of play in the blade. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. I like it.
That's my $100 list. Okay. Grill, spatula, knife cutting board, and the thermometer.
Full disclosure, as you're talking, I'm like making changes to my $1,000 list. Like, crap, I forgot this. Oh, that's a great idea. So these lists are fluid, all right? These are not set in stone, just like barbecue.
Okay. Well, I guess, should I go first this time? You want the $1,000 list?
Yeah.
So this is you've got a little more grown-up money. I started mine, and Mike made this point, like, shop the sales, especially shop them around Memorial Day and Labor Day. Those are kind of the bookends of barbecue season, I think, for most people. Mm-hmm. Most people that aren't like us that are outside running a smoker in, -2-degree weather.
Right.
Which reminds me, I should have added a welding blanket to this.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure I talk about that.
Yeah, I will.
But you get really good preseason sales around Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. So, like this Weber Smoky Joe, I can almost guarantee you'll be able to find it for $35, $40. Mm-hmm.
I think that's realistic.
And then at the end of the season, you can shop the closeout stuff. Because Home Depot's trying to get the grills out of the way so that they can bring in snow blowers. So you can do a little bit, and especially if they've got floor models, don't be afraid to ask for a discount.
Yeah, we talked about this. You did that with my brother's Traeger. It was a great idea.
Yeah, and I mean, he got a screaming deal.
Yeah, he got like 20% off because there's a little dent on it. Yeah. So it was great.
There goes the GoPro again. I don't know what the deal is with that.
He tried. Maybe he's bored. He's checked out. Maybe that's our cue that we need to spice things up a little bit.
Yeah. If anybody's got experience with GoPros, we've tried to use it to grab another video angle 2 weeks in a row, and it keeps shutting off in the middle of the record.
I think it just hates it. I think it doesn't like barbecue. It's not into it.
That's hurtful.
Well, to each their own, I guess.
I'm selling my stock.
Yes.
Okay, so go look for deals, ask for discounts on floor models. Home Depot is a great place to shop. The other place, I think I've talked about this, is Facebook Marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've got a $1,500 grill sitting on my back deck. I paid $600 or $700 for it, and it was practically brand new when I bought it. So, be patient as you're trying to get started.
Trying to cook burgers or whatever, right? Oh my gosh, that made me sick to my stomach.
It just takes so long to warm up, and I was like, do you know what this is?
Oh shoot.
But okay, so starting with the grill, $1,000. I went with a Traeger Pro Series 34. I've said it before. I will always say it. Buy the biggest grill you have a budget for. Mm-hmm. This is a $700 grill. It's very basic in terms of some of the functions of the higher end grill. Like this one doesn't have Wi-Fi. It does have a wired probe that you can plug in and like press a button and see it. It's got a digital controller, but it doesn't have some of the other bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. But it's big. You can cook a suckling pig on this. You can cook 2 full-size turkeys on this. You can get 2 briskets on it. Like, this is a great grill you can cook for a lot of people on. Yeah. So it's $700. Boom. That was where most of my money went. Mm-hmm. The rest of my money, I've got 2 different knives on here. I've got the fillet knife that we just talked about. I also have a slicing knife. It's a Graton Edge slicer. It's $20. It's still cooking home. It's like
the really long,
it's a
brisket slicer thing.
Yeah, it's an 11-inch. It's a straight blade. Normally has a blunt round nose on it. Uh-huh. It's not a brisket slicer that's got a little bit of curve to the blade. This one is, you can slice turkey with it. You can slice ham. It's a very...
I do not have a slicer. I want to get one.
Especially if you're trying to slice a whole strip off of a flat of a brisket.
Yeah.
This really changes the game. Mm-hmm. So, I've got another cutting board. I've got a little bit more money, so I've got a big wood cutting board, 24 by 18. And again, I'm still shopping on Amazon. I'm not going to Etsy. I'm not going to fancy stores. You can spend
Siri here. Let me know if I can help.
Hi, Siri.
Thanks, Siri. Sorry, everybody. Apparently, I pushed a button.
Yeah, we're having all sorts of fun with technology today.
I hate technology, man.
But so again, you can spend a lot of money on these things. I'm still kind of on the budget, more realistic side of things.
Right.
As much as I would love to have a $10,000 outdoor setup, I just don't.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've got that cutting board, and with all of those things, I think you can prep, you can present, you can do a lot of nice things. In terms of other utensils, I've got another big spatula. This one's a little bit more of it's 6x5, it's a really wide spatula. Still only $15. And then I've got a long pair of tongs.
Oh yeah.
I like that I didn't include down there. My thermometer, I do upgrade a little bit. I've got an original meter, single probe. It's a $70 thermometer. I got one for Christmas. And it's funny, there were raving reviews and this is the worst thermometer. There was no in between it. And there's always a little bit of that. There's always the Karen out there.
Well, and I feel like those are the only people that write the reviews. The people that love it or the people that have had a miserable experience. Yeah. You don't see a lot of in between.
But normally, everyone, no matter what product you have, someone's always going to have a crappy experience with it. Mm-hmm. But there was enough bad reviews that it kind of gave me pause that I hadn't bought one. Got one for Christmas. First 2 times I used it, I freaking hated the thing. The connectivity on it, so you've got the probe and this like block that has a charger in it.
And it's completely wireless, right?
It's completely wireless. Like
your probe looks like a little pencil.
It's a metal shank that you stick in your meat.
Mm-hmm.
And your phone can talk straight to the probe.
Okay.
Or it can talk to this charging block that's essentially like a repeater, like it's an extender.
Okay.
I don't feel like either one of them have great length. And I think ThermPro actually has a competitive product, but I couldn't find it all of a sudden. Like I've been looking at it for weeks, like I should buy one and just like do a comparison between the two. Like I thought it'd be a fun thing to talk about.
Maybe Meter had like a mob hit on them or something.
I don't know. There are like 25 other versions of it on there, but I couldn't find the one that I wanted to talk about. So I went with the Meter. After I've used it 2 or 3 times, I think I've kind of figured out the quirks and I know how to make it work.
Okay.
That I was willing to endorse it. And maybe I'll do a video on YouTube about how I think you can hack it a little bit to make it a better experience for you. But when it is working, man, it's super cool. You can like watch graphs of the time and the temps raising. It is really accurate. And it gives you both an internal temperature from a couple of spots, and then it also has the ambient temperature. Okay. So it's like the graphs are really fun to watch and like be able to study and do some analysis.
If you were gone for a while, you could come back and look at the consistency, and that'd be good, especially for getting to know your grill and see kind of what interesting.
And you can actually, so the hack is I hook it to an iPad, and then the iPad will push it to the cloud. The iPad just sits there like it's, one that my kids use that I just say, no, sorry, this is Dad's for the day. And then on my phone, I've got perfect connection because it's just on the cloud.
Oh, interesting. So, okay.
Yeah, it's really accurate and I like that. But I mean, this is kind of the thermometer you had. Like it's nice to just have something in there so you're not constantly lifting the lid, messing with the heat in the grill. So you can see that internal temp. Yeah. So that's my thermometer. Let's see what to talk about next here. The other thing that I've got on here, I've got pink butcher paper.
I've got that on my list too.
I also have foil, but the foil's for a different reason. We'll talk about that in a sec. For cooking the food, though, there's both schools of thought, and I actually think they're both right. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Cooking with butcher paper, I think, maintains bark better. It holds heat in that speeds up the cook. It gets you through the stall faster, but it also lets it breathe so it doesn't get soggy. Yeah, like foil does. Foil's great, but you lose your bark, and it cooks faster, which sometimes you need to. Like,
sometimes you got to do it. But
you were talking about your buddy who's trying to cook a pork shoulder and sent you a picture from the In-N-Out drive-thru.
Yeah, he's like, this is how it's going, and he was in and out at like 8:00 that night. I felt bad for him, but he said the breakfast burritos the next day were phenomenal. Yeah,
so that's great. When you got to speed a cook up, wrap it in foil. It'll take 3 hours off your cook every time. Yep. So. Yep. But I like pink butcher paper, so I've got that on there. Okay. I guess the 4 last things, and these are really convenience things that I have on here, but I think make a big difference. I've got gloves. We talked about that. It's just so much easier to just throw a pair of gloves away instead of having to wash your hands 200 times, especially as you're going out and you're turning a piece of meat or you're, I've stained my hands red from paprika and rub. Yeah. More times than I can count.
The smell, you can't get the smell out, which it's yummy, but it's kind of weird to have it under your fingernails and
onion and garlic and you have a nice meal and put the kids to bed and you try and get a little friendly with your wife and she goes, "Do you smell onions?" Yeah, baby, that's me.
Good night. Yeah.
Might as well have had betas for dinner and just have been covered in pico and onions. So gloves, your love life will thank you. Foil, and not just your cheap grocery store foil. Yeah. Heavy duty, extra wide foil. Mm-hmm. One, if you're going to use it to wrap your food, it makes a big difference. It's a lot easier than trying to link pieces of foil together. Yep. It doesn't, or
have it tear.
It doesn't tear as easily. The other thing, all of these pellet grills have a drip pan in them. Mm-hmm. Cover your drip pan in foil. You can buy like these drip pan liners. They're $20 for 5 of them.
And they're just foil.
Yeah. Use foil. It works just as well. It's way cheaper, and it will make cleaning your grill so much easier. I think we talked about Papa Murphy's at one point and why I thought it was a terrible thing, and now I love it. Mm-hmm. You've got to have a clean grill if you're going to bake on your smoker. Yeah. If you're going to cook a pizza, you've got to have a clean grill. Otherwise, you're going to get burnt brisket grease or bacon or whatever it was you cooked last cooked into your food, which isn't always what you want. So cleaning that drip pan is huge. I threw a nice apron on here. You can say what you want. Real men don't wear aprons. I'm a slob, guys. I'm forever getting covered in stuff. The number of shirts I've ruined just cleaning my grill with a brush, and it's flipping the little black specks of grease back at you. Mm-hmm. Put an apron on. Your wife will thank you.
Especially if you're a fat guy. Yeah. Your belly is going to get a lot of crap on it.
Oh, man. The number of times I've rubbed up against something and been like, dang it.
Yeah. I have an apron, and I always forget to put it on. And, man, when I do, it's so much nicer. When I don't, the shirt's ruined. There's no coming back from it.
We probably need to do them again. We've talked about we're in the bishopric church and in the leadership. Because multiple congregations share the same building, you shift times, every year or so. Right now we're on the last block, which means, the congregation meetings start at noon. Well, we start leadership meetings at 8:00 in the morning. Mm-hmm. We have a couple of leadership meetings, and then we meet with individuals. Really, the bishop has a lot more appointments than we do.
Yeah, we're mostly just there for support, and we take the non-heavy stuff.
Yeah. So when we don't have anything to do, and now sometimes we even get to run home and throw a little food down our gullet, and you're wearing a suit, put your apron on.
Yeah.
That's that. We the bishop actually gave us all aprons the last time we had this block, because it was we all ran home, and the number of times one of us had come back with a different tie or a whole new shirt on. It was wear your apron, boys. And then the last thing are bear paws. Do you have a set of?
I do.
Big of claws?
Fan. Yeah. Big fan. So I think I just said big pan. Big fan.
Yeah, they think of Wolverine, just plastic claws, but when you're going to shred a pork shoulder, I mean, I'm pretty proud of my pork shoulder game now. I can just pick my pork shoulder up with one hand and squeeze it, and the whole thing falls apart. That's where I'm
getting to, yeah.
But especially as you're getting started, sometimes you've got to shred and pull and tear it apart, even with these. Even with a perfect pork shoulder that you squeeze and they fall apart, man, if you're doing a big cook, I did 10 of them one time, they were all cooked perfect, but your hands get tired of just squeezing. So these things, you just grab them and you can tear them. They're great for picking big chunks of meat up off of the grill and moving them.
I haven't used them just to pick stuff up. That's genius. I like that.
Yeah.
I've just used them for shredding.
No,
That's a great idea. Yeah, you could move a whole brisket with those, huh?
Yeah, and I've even done it. So normally you put them on and you make fists with them, like Wolverine style, and you're shredding and pulling. Mm-hmm. I've gone open hand and put them in so they're sticking out of my hand like this. Does that make sense? So my fingers are underneath it, but I've also got
like
when I'm doing a prime rib or something, if I don't section it off and I've got a big 8-bone roast, like it just gives you so much more security to be able to stab it from the sides, hold on to it, pick it up.
Okay. So I've not done that. I like it.
So I think that's everything on my list.
Cool.
Oh, one last thing. One last utensil that I think all great barbecuers should have. I think we've talked about this before. A pizza peel.
Oh, yeah. You did talk about this.
Yeah.
One of our first episodes, I think.
Yeah. It is a giant spatula.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're trying to move a pizza, a turkey, like you just need something solid it's metal, it's thin, you can get it under stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of pizza pills.
Yeah.
So I've got a very cheap, very basic $15 pizza peel that there's one on top of my fridge.
Nice.
I've had it for 10 years. It's awesome.
I'm going to have to get one of those. All right. My list is very similar to yours, so I'm just going to do the differences. So I've got crap all over. My kitchen is tiny. Like, we love our house. We got into it at a good time. Things are great. Our kitchen sucks. Like, it's really small. We just don't have room for anything. So what I've got on here is a waterproof storage tough chest. So it's basically a giant toolbox. I was looking for a deck box last summer because I wanted to put all my barbecue stuff in there. I had accumulated enough that it was spread out throughout my garage, in my kitchen. It was a mess. And so I was looking for deck boxes, and man, you can pay upwards of $1,000 for a deck box. It's unreal.
Lifetime and Rubbermaid, man, they are making a killing.
Yeah. And they're great products. But my father-in-law had a toolbox for a side-by-side that he just throws in the bed. And he mentioned maybe you should look into those, and it's awesome. I think mine's a DeWalt or a Husky. I can't remember. I got it at Home Depot. But I found a bunch of them on Amazon, and they're about $150. They're just giant, like 55-gallon tool chests. And I put all my stuff in there. I've got all my pellets, all my charcoal. They're going to stay dry. I've got all my utensils, my grill cleaner, my charcoal chimney, a lot of paper towel, foil, things like that. And I just shove it in there and latch the lid closed, and it stays dry and it stays out of my kitchen. And I don't have to look for stuff. So that is number one on my $1,000 list because it's, like I say, $150, maybe $200 if you get a bigger one.
Don't tell Haley. She's gonna want her cupboard back that I took over.
Dude, seriously, it's nice. I really like it. It's probably my favorite thing that I have purchased for barbecue. One day I'm gonna have a sweet outdoor kitchen with cupboards and all that stuff. But one, we live in Utah. And two, that day is not going to come for a while. Not soon. So it's nice to have that just storage for everything. When I did the barbecue competition last year, I threw that in the back of my truck. I knew I had everything because I keep everything in that.
That's awesome.
And I just keep it on my deck, and like I say, it stays dry. Big fan. I got the foil. I threw foil pans on here. Sometimes you can wrap stuff in foil, but it's nice to just have a foil pan, and you can get. I got a 30-pack on here for $25 that I saw on Amazon. I mean, that's more than you'll need ever.
Yeah. No, definitely. We always have those.
Yeah.
It's great to pull one if you need to cook in a pan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get yelled at for getting the nice baking dishes dirty.
Yeah.
Corningware. It will turn brown, and you won't ever get it off.
Yeah.
I've tried everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're great to cook in. They're great to store meat in too.
Mm.
And if you're like taking food to other people,
yeah,
man, when we take dinner to somebody, it's all in foil pans. It's just like, here you go, throw it away when you're done.
I think so. And I recently discovered you could get them on Amazon. I'll go to the grocery store and spend like $5 for two in a 2-pack or whatever. You can get 30 for $25 on Amazon.
Yeah, I buy them at Sam's Club. I don't know.
Oh, I haven't looked there. Also, have you ever used like the little loaf pans? really small. I use those for sauce when I'm smoking it or warming it. It's really nice.
I haven't done that.
Put your basting brush in there and just keep it on the grill.
That'd be nice. I bought a little like half quart Lodge like cast iron.
Do you like it?
Yes and no. Like
Okay.
I love cast iron. Like
Right. I've got a bunch of that on here too.
the hard part about it is the sauce is like there's so much acid and tomato base in there. Like it gets left in there for a long time. And I feel like it always eats it off. Like I'm forever re-seasoning that.
See, that was my concern. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger on one of those. But I would like to have one. But
yeah,
it's nice to just use your sauce, throw the pan away. You know?
No, I love the idea.
So, I got a thermopen on here. I feel like it's nice to have an instant read for the thermometer as well as a wireless probe or whatever. So I put the thermopen on here. It's $100. It's expensive for a thermometer. Like you said, your $10 one probably does just as good a job. But I really like this one. It's instant. And like you said, a lot of it is just feel. So it's just, you just need something to poke it. But if I've got $1,000, I got a thermopen.
But thermopens are super nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're super nice. And like if someone gave me one, I'd love to have it.
Yeah. It was a Christmas present one year, and I have no regrets. Like I've been really happy with it. Your meter, how many probes do you have?
I just did the one probe.
Okay.
I did the $70 one.
Okay.
Do you have the big 4 block on there?
That's what I put on here, just because I didn't include a grill, so I've got all sorts of money.
So you've
I'm
got
just
more money than
blowing
I do.
Yeah.
I probably would have, because when you go to that 4 block is Wi-Fi enabled. So my like ghetto hack of using an iPad, you don't have to do because
really?
The block is Wi-Fi enabled.
It kind of solves that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's $350. So I don't know that I would ever use it. I've got a ThermoWorks Dot right now that I love, and that's kind of my sit it in and leave it in right now. But if money was no object, I would probably look into that meter probe.
I will, like, the one thing I will say about especially the big long cooks, I mean, look, I've done all sorts of like redneck things of, it started with a video baby monitor when we like first had kids.
That is awesome.
That I had a Therm Pro wireless probe that like there was a sending unit that stayed outside and a little receiver inside that told you what the grill was.
Okay.
But we had this Wi-Fi baby monitor. So when we'd go to church,
that's awesome.
I'd take my receiving unit, point the camera at it, and I'd be looking at the baby monitor in church,
That's
checking the
awesome.
temp. I eventually evolved, when Wise Cams came out for $20. I had a Wise Cam, I'd point at it. It is super nice when I'm at work. Like, I'm not... Because before that, I'd like call Haley and be like,
right.
Hey, what time's the meet at?
And they get so annoyed, bless their hearts, because they're always in the middle of something. It's like, okay, I'll call you back in a second.
Yeah, I love having that Wi-Fi connection. Yeah. So I think that's a great investment.
Yeah. See, I've never had the Wi-Fi thermometer, so it would be nice. My
game changer.
My Grilla lets me see my grill temp, and you can put a probe in there, but I found that it's plus or minus 10 degrees on the meat. So, I've also got grill grates on here. Have you ever thought of like Grill Grate is a brand, and it's like a searing station that you put on your grill. Gets screaming hot, beautiful grill marks, and I have asked on several forums if there's any other advantage to grill grates besides pretty marks. Mostly all I get is it's consistent. It does make some pretty marks on your meat, on your steak. But also if you flip it over, you have kind of a flat top that you can use. I've been looking at them for a while, so if I had, if I had a little more money, I'd probably just pull the
how much
trigger
are
on
they?
them. I've got them for $150, but that goes across like your entire Traeger. I think you can. They come in sections, and I think you can just get a couple sections for like a Weber or even a gas grill, probably for like 70, $80. I don't know. So,
No, that makes sense. Yeah, and you eat with your eyes first, so the pretty marks matter sometimes.
yeah. And it sounds fun, you know? That's what I've watched a lot of videos where that's what people use to cook steak. And it looks beautiful, but also like it is so hot. Like they conduct heat so well that, I mean, it's 2 minutes, flip 45 degrees, flip it over, 2 minutes, 45 degrees, and your steak's done, you know?
Yeah.
So, I've also got some cast iron, Dutch oven, cast iron pan. Have you ever had a Cambro? You did some catering.
I have. I don't have Cambros. I think they're great for the amount of catering I do. I've got I think it's a 45 quart Arctic cooler.
Yeah.
It's like a Yeti. It's the cheaper version of a Yeti.
Yeah.
Coolers work just like Cambros.
See, that's what I've used. That's what I'll continue to use. If I had money to blow on it, maybe I'd look into it. A lot of the competition guys will talk about it, and then you'll always have some old dude that's like, just use a cooler. It's the same thing. So I don't know whether it's worth it or not. I did put it on my list, but
yeah. So from a catering perspective, like Cambro started as a restaurant supply. The really nice thing about it is pans fit into the Cambro. Like they've got
they like slide in.
They've got
grooves,
slots
right?
in the grooves that you can slide hotel pans into. You can they sell pans like they slide in. It's secure. Your food's not gonna fall.
Yeah. And stays separated and isn't stacked on each other. I guess like it would be in a cooler. I could see that.
Like I take those foil pans and I know like I can turn one this way and one this way, and then I'm gonna alternate them, and like I can kind of do that. But like if I want to get the one on the bottom, like I've got to take everything else out. Whereas these Cambros, they open from the front. You can slide it out. It's really nice.
Yeah.
You can also get Cambros that have heating elements in them, so it like acts like a warming element. I don't think most home cooks need them.
I don't know why you would. I mean, so I've rested meat for a long time, and I've like boiled water, either put it in the bottom or just sat the pan in the bottom and closed it for 5 minutes. It preheats the cooler. Then you put your meat in. It stays warm for a long time. So,
and I've never even preheated mine. I put it in a foil pan. I wrap it in a towel, and I put it in a cooler.
And it stays good for hours. So, I put it on here, but that's it. That's my $1,000 list. Oh, knives. I threw a Dexter Russell is a brand that I use. Mostly just because Malcolm Reed used them. So, of course, I grabbed them. So I threw it on here, but I think you nailed it. Like, get a decent knife, maybe not from the dollar store, but get a decent knife. And that particular brand, I found a three pack starter pack. It comes with like a boning knife and then just a couple of other knives for like $40 on Amazon, which I didn't think was too bad.
No, I think that's really reasonable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I mean, I think part of it too is like know where you're going to be cooking and what you're going to be cooking. I mean, I've got a meat cleaver. Like I bought the cheapest thing I could find. It ended up being like it is incredibly sharp, and like I think I paid $15 for it. But like the reason I bought it was I was doing a suckling pig, and I watched all these videos and like to crack the spine so that you can get the cord out and then be able to open it real nice. Like they say, take a cleaver and hit it with a hammer. And I was like, well, I'm not going to spend $200 on a knife that I'm going to beat the crap out of. Just so happened that it's turned out to be a great knife.
Oh, dude, we used that on Irv, and it was sweet. Like I couldn't believe you were just whacking it with your hammer, and it cut right through. Did a great job. Good edge.
Yeah, and it's held its edge. So, don't think you've got to buy name brand on everything. There are certain things that matters on.
Yeah.
Knives are not one of those.
One other thing I was going to say is we've talked about gloves on here. Meat is hot. They sell like grill gloves that you can get, and they're insulated and they're grippy, and that's all well and good.
They suck.
But
so hard.
I've never had some, but here's what I do. I get some cotton liners, super cheap from I don't even remember where I got them. Probably Harbor Freight or Walmart or something. And then I put the black gloves over top of them. It keeps them clean. You can reuse them. You throw them in the washing machine when you're done. Like, so much better than...
I think I found
And it's so hot.
I think I found a 25 pair pack on Amazon for $12.
Oh, dude, pennies. And really, you need one pair. If you're
I
switching
throw
your
them away,
black
dude.
gloves...
Like
Do you really?
if I not every time, but like every 5 or 6
gross.
use, like if one of those nitrile gloves breaks,
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, like, I have massive hands.
Yeah, me too.
Fatty
hands.
Yeah. I've got big bare paws that, I mean, 2X gloves most of the time don't fit me.
Right. Especially if you put those liners on too.
Yeah. So the grill gloves that they sell most of the time, and there's two different things, right? Like, so there's like fire gloves they're normally like leather. They come up to your elbow, like that you would use if you were Dutch oven cooking or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about those, but they sell these like silicone gloves that are like rated up to 500 degrees, and you know, they show pictures of people taking dishes out of the oven and cooking on the grill. Mm-hmm. The fingers are like, I don't think they're long enough for my wife, who has nice dainty little hands. So I can't get my hands into them, and when I can, like, you've got no dexterity in your fingers. That, and like, I have burnt my hand on way less than 500 degrees when I have gotten my hand in there. So
really,
yeah, I'm same way. Cheap cotton gloves with the nitrile over the top of them, and you can do a lot of things.
I'm not sold on the silicone anything. I've got a silicone like thing for my cast iron pan that you slide over the handle, and I don't really think it insulates at all. So yeah.
No, that's why there's kitchen towels.
Yeah, there you go.
The last thing I was going to talk about, I'm glad you brought up heat. Traeger, Green Mountain Grill, Camp Chef, I'm willing to bet Yoder probably does too. Like, all of these grill companies, they sell insulation kits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For when it's really cold outside. The grills will run. They burn a lot more pellets when it's really cold outside.
Go through a lot less efficient.
Pro tip, go down to your local Harbor Freight, Value, whatever hardware store. Buy a welding blanket.
You told me this, and I've still yet to do it.
They are fantastic. You throw the welding blanket over the top of the grill. Make sure you don't block the vents or the smokestack.
I was going to say, do you cut a hole for the stack, or do you just wrap it around it?
I just lay... So, I've got the ironwood now, and the vent is on the back of it.
Okay.
I just put it over the top and let the edge rest on top of that vent. So the vent's not obstructed.
Gotcha.
But before, when I had a smokestack on the side, like, I just covered the top of the grill and the smokestack was uncovered. But a welding blanket, it's not going to catch on fire. Prior to that, I used to use packing pads, like the black packing blankets.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, they're cheap, they're fine. They also melt.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So for years, one of my grills had this nice zigzag pattern that matched the stitching in
that's awesome.
But so the welding blankets don't do that. You throw it over the top. It works every bit as good as the $300 insulation kit that you can buy from whoever made your grill. And it's, $25.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been going to do that. And I feel like you could get one and make it work for all of your grills.
Yep.
Instead of a specific kit that only worked for that grill.
Yep.
Cool.
So that's my last hot tip.
I like it.
Okay.
Well,
alrighty. Well, we will try and include some of these links for our different shopping lists. We'll try and include those either in the show notes or our podcast has a webpage.
Yes, it
that we
does.
don't talk about very often.
That's because we haven't really utilized it, I feel like.
Yeah, so it's fatguyswithsmokers.podbean.com. So Podbean is our hosting service for the podcast that we use that pushes out to Apple and Spotify and all the places that you listen to.
PODBEAN.
Yep.
Like lima bean, but with a pod.
Pod. Never would have gone to lima beans.
I don't know. It just popped into my head.
Do you like lima beans?
No, I don't even know what lima beans are.
I do know what lima beans are, and I'm not
I feel
a
like
big
there was
fan.
an episode of Doug where he didn't want to eat lima beans.
Yeah, they were really big when we were kids at high school lunches.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a trip down memory lane that wasn't fun.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all
That
good.
was my bad. Sorry to bring up your trauma.
I think I'll live through it. But yeah, so you can look there for these links. We will try and get this one on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And if it's on YouTube, please comment anything. Like, we'd love to
let us know that you're there.
Yeah, we'd love to read your comments on air. And try to interact that way. But I mean, maybe we just inform people so much that there's no comments or questions or anything. So.
Well, I mean, I do tell my kids that I'm the smartest man on earth and not to question, but
I like it. That's a healthy way to go.
Don't actually do it. Nobody at me. Actually, please at me. Somebody. Mike actually got an @ from somebody the other day on an Instagram reel.
Did I? What's an @
When they use the @ symbol and put your name to
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
Well.
Oh. Turns out it's time to be done.
The other camera's battery just died. I didn't think we were going for that long. But until next time, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
And we're Fat Guys with Smokers. Thanks for listening to the Fat Guys with Smokers podcast. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe so you don't forget to tune in for even more nonsense from a couple of Fat Guys with Smokers.
Don't forget to subscribe.